Hello and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing The Lord of the Rings Return to Moria, and we're going to be going through what I would like to consider a pretty comprehensive food and nutrition guide for the game. So it is a survival crafting game, so one of the things you'll have to figure out early on is how to keep yourself fed. On the bright side, there is no hydration system, so that is not a thing you also have to manage, but you do have to eat quite a bit, and you will, the more you work or do stuff, so if you're mining or something like that, you will find yourself getting hungry quicker than if you were just standing there, per se. But you will need to keep yourself fed, and so I want to go from the very basic level to the more complex. So at the basic level, you need to find raw resources, and I'm starting right near the beginning, so you can see we're by Ori's camp. This is way at the beginning of the game. There are a lot of sources of food that you can find early on like this. So we'll just start by backtracking a little bit, and you can see one of the first groups of food that you'll find all over the place is mushrooms. The nice thing about these and some of the other things we're going to be looking at is they regrow relatively quickly. I think it takes only a day or two for them to restock, and then you can pick them again. And so there are certain sections that have a lot of them. You can see we just picked up two there. There are some scattered all around that room, but if we keep following, like just backtracking our way back to the way that we came in when we first started the game, we will find a whole bunch of them in this room right here. So you can see there's just a whole bunch of them growing over here. And the good thing about mushrooms over all of the other things we're going to take a look at is that mushrooms on their own, like I said, they grow back really fast if you want to plant them through farming, which you can do. They grow in the dark, so you don't even need sunlight in the areas. But the other main thing is that by themselves, when cooking at a hearth, they make an entire meal just by themselves. You don't need meat or anything else with it. So mushrooms are kind of the core staple early game for making food, at least at your hearth. And like I said, they can be gathered, a lot of them in large numbers, right near the beginning. So that's the first thing to look at. There are three other common early game staples in the food production business here in this game that you want to focus on. The next one is going to be meat. So any non-beast enemies like these rats that you can kill, or any of the prey types or wolves, you can kill and get meat from. And you'll be able to cook and eat that, and it'll be a necessary ingredient in several recipes. So meat is a pretty basic one. That's going to be one that you'll figure out early in the game. Another one is what's called sunions. They're basically onions. There's a bunch of these that go right here in this main starting place. You can see a bunch of them down here, and it's nice because you can harvest several of them from each node, and much like the mushrooms, they grow back quickly. So that is another one of your staples early game that you can either eat on its own or more intelligently use to craft other recipes. And the third one is cranberries. And now, depending on your start, you might get several of them floating around down here in the water, or just one like I have. But those are your groups of food that early game you're going to be able to get a lot of and can totally keep you alive very, very well. So, again, that was mushrooms, sunions, meat, and cranberries. And so as far as cooking goes, I just like to keep all of my food stuff in one chest right next to my hearth. But as far as cooking goes, the basic level of cooking in this game is going to be all stone hearth cooking. So it's stuff that you do while you're at camp. You aren't yet at the level where you can prepare to make more advanced provisions to take with you. And so when doing that, out of those things that I just showed you how to harvest, you can make several recipes. Obviously roast meat, mushroom stew, so roast meat is just meat, mushroom stew is just mushrooms. Medley skewers is mushrooms and sunions. And then stuffed mushrooms is mushrooms, sunions, and cranberries. So you can make all of those things with just those couple ingredients that I already showed you. And all of those are going to provide excellent nutrition to keep you alive. And just as a basic note, to do any of this type of crafting, you need to not only have a hearth, but you also need to have a meal table close by so that the meal can appear on it. That is your most basic level of food prep. Now let's move on to the slightly more advanced areas to look at. And so the next part to consider with the nutrition guide is a more sustainable source of food, and that source comes from the Elven Quarters. So this should be a relatively early game region that you'll be able to find, and it has lots of stuff. For one thing, especially once you've cleared out the orcs and the orc encampments, there's a lot of prey in here that you can get meat from, so that's always great. But there's also 3 new distinct plants that get added in this region. And so the first one is going to be cabbage, and so there is a ton of cabbage in here. Man can live on cabbage alone in the elf quarter because there is so much of it. Another one is going to be grab apples, and then we're going to see the aule blooms, which can be used to brew stuff. So those 3 ingredients are unique to this region, and you can only get them here. The other one is Elbereth's Blessing. This is another one that you can use to craft better potions and stuff like that, or whatever you want to call them. tonics, I guess. But that's another thing to consider, is that if you want to survive very easily, the Elven Quarter is a great place to do it. I always recommend, especially once you've unlocked fast travel, because then you can kind of just go back and forth between your map stones at your own leisure. I always recommend setting up your main camp here in the Elven Quarter. A, I like it. It's nice and well lit, and it's got trees and stuff, so what's not to like about that? And B, it's got tons of food, so you never need to worry about running out of food, even if you're sticking to a very basic level of nutrition. Now, basic ingredients aside, the other part of nutrition is going to be the equipment that you need, and you're going to unlock the ability to build this stuff as you unlock resources. So a lot of this will take some time in the game to unlock, but I can show you the general use for most of the stuff. One of the things that you'll unlock relatively early is new types of hearths, and those will unlock the ability to craft different types of food. So the upgrade from the stone hearth is the tiled hearth. You unlock this when you start mining granite. This one will just unlock more recipes for you, as well as other things that can be built in the area. Another thing that you'll unlock is the roasting pit. This will allow to cook other specific types of things that can't be cooked any other way. So like the Shire breakfast is one of them, Erebor strip steak, things like that. So more complex food type items. The stove is one that you'll unlock as you go down. This one will allow you to make probably the most complex things, basically things that have to be baked. And so you'll be able to make crumb cake, tangine, bangers and mash, mashed potatoes, things like that. So those are all just different levels of equipment that do the same sort of thing. You cook on them, and they put a meal on your table that you can eat. Nothing too advanced there. Where you start getting more advanced is the oven. And so the thing about the oven is this allows you to make rations. Rations are something that you can take with you as you're traveling, so they can stay in your hotbar. This is where you get to the really useful level of cooking and nutrition in this game. And now some of these are rather simple. So dried fruit, for example, all you need is grab apples, and you can dry them and keep them with you, and they will have better nutritional value, and they won't spoil like a lot of your raw stuff. Biltong is meat. It's basically jerky. Beorn's honey cakes, all you need is Kuzdul, Ult, and cave honey. Salted meat is just meat and salt. Lembas is the best one, but for that one you need the Aule, Bloom, Kuzdul, Oat, and Elbereth's Blessing. You can get both the Bloom and Elbereth's Blessing here in the Elven Quarter. The Kuzdul Ult you get down in the lower levels, and it is all over the place, so I have quite a bit of it stocked up already. Those are the things you want. You can see I keep Lembas in my hotbar because it fills your entire hunger bar and helps heal quite a bit. So that's rations is where you want to get to for your self-sustainability. As far as the oven unlocking, I believe that unlocks as soon as you build the tiled hearth. You will unlock the ability to build the oven, which you will also need granite for. The next upgrade to the hearth comes in the form of this big fancy grand hearth. This one, again, it just makes your hearth area bigger, which is very convenient, and unlocks the ability to build a couple other things. But as far as dry food or regular food goes, you need a hearth and ingredients to cook meals to eat at your camp, and you need an oven and the ingredients to cook here. One other thing associated with the oven and different things that we'll look into in a little bit is the grist mill. So this you use to crush down your Kuzdul oats into things. So to make milled oats, you can do that here. Oat milk is another ingredient that you can make out of Kuzdul oats. And then dough is one with milled oats and oat milk. So when you have both of those, you can make dough. And that is one of the ways that you can cook quite a few things. So I'll show you here. We'll make some milled oats, and we'll make some oat milk. And you can see from the milled oats, we unlocked journey bread and overnight bowl. And so with the oat milk, you can see we unlocked cheese, Nana's casserole, scones, and granicon. And now we're going to make dough with the two of those ingredients. So we're going to collect our dough. And there we've unlocked a bunch more stuff. So cookies, mushroom pie, fruit pie, and meat pie. So through the grist mill, you can grind your stuff to make ingredients that you need, and you'll also be unlocking stuff. So if we go into the oven now, you can see that we have even more stuff that we can make here. So journey bread is a complex ration, much like Lembas, so it's going to have a similar response, but instead of needing to collect these three ingredients, you will need milled oats, oat milk, grab apples, and Anuminas spices. So the Anuminas spices being the rarest thing out of all of those. And then cookies is another complex ration where we need dough, milled oats, and cranberries to make it. So all good stuff, very useful to keep with you on the road. We've also unlocked new recipes for the stove, so that's where we get the Chronicon, the scones, Nana's casserole, overnight bowl, meat pie, fruit pie, and mushroom pie. Ooh, as well as cheese. So we just unlocked a whole bunch of recipes, and that's how you do it. That's the basic process. It's by gathering new ingredients from around the map, and that will teach you how to do stuff. So that is all of the solid food nutritional information. The other part is going to be the drinks. And so there's basically two different ways to make drinks in this game. You have the brew kettle, which you can craft, and with that you can also craft, I forget what the side thing is called, but it makes it so you can brew stronger stuff. And you can brew pretty basic stuff in here. I've got some hop goblet lager in here that you can make. And this will give you benefits, like this one I believe gives you a bunch of extra stamina, or maybe your energy regeneration, I can't remember exactly. But it's definitely great for that. The other one is going to be this big brew tap, and with this one you can make more complex stuff. So you have to crawl all the way up to the top to do it. Currently I have Miravar getting made in here, which is very, very useful. So we'll go into the craft section. You can make Evening Ale, Scour Pilsner, Hop Goblet Lager, or Miravar, and for that one you have the most complex ingredients. You need milled oats, Thanazutsum, cave honey, and you need to have an alchemical still, which is what that thing that I couldn't remember was called. That is very, very useful to bring with you, and there are two ways to carry liquids with you on the road, because obviously you can just do what I did there and grab a mug and drink it here at home. But when you're wanting to bring it with you, there's two different ways to do that. And so the first, most simple way is going to be the brew skin, and this is just a small personal skin for carrying any brew or ale. You can make this once you've unlocked steel ingots and gotten some ubasum wood, which you get from mushrooms way down in the lower depths. And then leather, which you can craft using the loom. All of those things together allow you to make a brew skin where you can carry different types of brew or ale with you. So that's useful. The other one is a legendary item. So if you don't want to use the legendary pick or the legendary torch like I'm using, you can use the wander keg, which is quite a useful item because you can use it to then fill it up with whatever you want. So we're going to go ahead and fill our keg with this hop goblet lager, and that will give us just a whole bunch of charges that we can drink from at any time when we're out on the road. So that is very, very useful, and it's a fun, unique item, and it's very dwarven in my opinion. But that is it for nutrition. That's basically what you've got. Like I said, early game there is a lot of stuff that you can use very, very easily to keep yourself fed, and then late game you're going to want to be carrying your travel bread, your Lembas, stuff like that with you to make it so that you are very sustainable on the road. But that's it for food and nutrition for Return to Moria. Hope this video was useful in some way, but that's all for today. See you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.